A major Republican talking point in this presidential campaign, and it is
that consulate in Benghazi, that consulate attack last month that killed the U.S. ambassador to Libya. Romney campaign officials and GOP lawmakers are hammering the Obama administration over it, with some even suggesting a cover-up. Here's a sample of what they were saying on the Sunday morning talk shows.
There's inconsistencies here, and what we're saying is that, as Americans, we deserve to know what really happened going into this attack.
11 years after September 11th, Americans were attacked on September 11th by terrorists who pre-planned to kill Americans. That happened, and we can't be in denial.
They're trying to spin what happened in Libya, because the truth of the matter is Al-Qaeda is alive and well and counterattacking.
strong words. Let's talk about it with the former NATO Supreme Allied Commander and Obama campaign surrogate, General Wesley Clark, retired, of course, and Rich Williamson, a veteran diplomat, foreign policy advisor to the Romney campaign. General Clark, I'll start with you. Has the White House been completely forthcoming in its information on Libya? You heard what those Republicans were saying.
Well, first of all, I'm not in the White House, but I do believe they've been forthcoming. From everything I've heard around and from everything I've picked up, yes, they've been forthcoming. There's no spin. Well, first impressions of an event are almost always wrong. This was the case when Mr. Romney made his statement about the demonstrations and about the embassy comment in Cairo. And in this case, what we're trying to do is get to the bottom of it. And so let's let the process work and let's get to the bottom of the facts on this thing before we start the name calling and the partisan attacks.
Ambassador Williamson, then what do you say on the flip side, that many Democrats are kind of counterattacking here, saying that the Romney campaign has been using the death of the ambassador and those three other Americans for political gain? How do you respond to that?
We have an American ambassador killed. Chris Stevens, a former colleague of mine, someone I respected and liked. We had three other Americans killed. This is the first American ambassador killed since the Carter administration. This is not a Republican issue. It's not a Democrat issue. It's an American issue. This is a big deal. And the fact that the Obama White House kept diverting attention, saying it was on the video, when we now know that in real time, members of the Obama administration at the State Department saw it was a planned attack, that days later, Susan Rice was sent out to again use this canard of the video, that the president himself, almost 2 weeks later when he went to the UN, wasn't open. The American people expect and deserve transparency, and they haven't got it on this issue. It's disappointing.
You want to respond to that, General Clark?
I certainly do. Look, I know Susan Rice. I worked with her for years. She would never get out and say something that wasn't true like that. I think it's an outrageous statement. And if you want to look at what's going on here, consider the original 9/11 attacks. When we were attacked as a nation by Al-Qaeda 11 years ago, the country pulled together. Here what's happened is, this is an Al-Qaeda attack by all the evidence. It's taken a while to find out all the details of it. And instead of the country pulling together with the Republican Party doing its job as the opposition party working to shape a unified national response, it's been thrown right into the political partisan bullpit. And all we've got is a bunch of partisan attacks. It's even gone so far as they've exposed a CIA safe house or a CIA annex in the area in those hearings that were public. So this is not constructive. It's very destructive. And I think the country should pull together. It takes a while to get into the bottom of this. The people that had the information at the beginning were not high officials in the administration. They weren't at the top policy level. So they weren't capable of saying really what happened. By the time you dig down into it, the story always changes.
All right.
Rich knows this.
Go ahead, Rich.
Well, you know, I find it always interesting in a political season. 4 years ago at this time, it wasn't unduly partisan to attack the Republicans on a whole range of foreign policy issues that were going on at the time. I think this is a legitimate discussion. The fact is that the president's claiming that Al-Qaeda has been degraded because of the targeting drone killings and wasn't a concern has been proven to be false. Al-Qaeda is alive and well in Somalia, across northern Africa. They apparently killed an American employee in Yemen last week. They're in Syria. So this is a discussion we need about what strategy we need for al-Qaeda, and that targeted drone killings is not enough. You need a broad strategy. Second, the administration has two choices. They can either claim incompetence when you had the ambassador in Libya request more security, the security professionals in Libya request more security, the administration, the Obama administration turning it down, then this extraordinary event and tragic event of an American ambassador killed. It's something the president should get on top of. It's something that they do need to know about and provide explanations to the American people. Instead, they put together a commission that won't report its findings till after the election. That's unacceptable.
General Clark, I'm going to get you to respond, but listen to these clips, because these are administration officials, including the vice president, suggesting they didn't know what about these requests for heightened security. The State Department knew. Listen to this.
We weren't told they wanted more security again. We did not know they wanted more security again.
These are issues appropriately that are handled by security professionals at the State Department, and that's what he was talking about.
There's no doubt that some of these matters went into the Security Department at the State Security Agency at the State Department, but it didn't come to the White House.
Security requests at our embassies and our consulates and our buildings throughout the world obviously go to the State Department. Those are the people that should be making those decisions. That's the place where requests go.
General Clark, it sounds to a lot of folks like the White House, like these people, these individuals are throwing the State Department, including the Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, under the bus.
I don't think that's the case at all, Wolf. I think what you got here is, number one, I agree with Ambassador Williamson. I think we should be talking about the policy of how we go after al-Qaeda. Now, I happen to think al-Qaeda has been greatly degraded, but we've always said that it was transforming itself into these regional franchises. And how we deal with it, that's a legitimate policy debate. I haven't heard anything from the Romney campaign suggesting how to do this. I've just heard this discussion. Going after the specific incident in Benghazi before there's an investigation done, that's politicizing a national tragedy. That's not appreciated. That wasn't done by the Democrats after 9/11, and it wasn't done in the 2008 election. So let's keep it on the policy level. That's appropriate for the political season. Let's let the professionals work through the specific security issues here. And if more resources are needed, I hope that Congressman Ryan's committee will agree to put those resources back in the budget. It tried to take $300 million away from security.
All right, gentlemen, I'm going to ask you to stand by for just a quick moment. Much more coming up after the break.